Republican vice presidential nominee Paul Ryan gave an outstanding speech today in Greenville, North Carolina. He once again drew thousands of supporters to his campaign and electrified the crowd with his thoughtful insights on what is needed to turn this economy around.
I was just talking to Pat McCrory in the back room there. He tells me you all are going to beat Steve Spurrier next week. Go Pirates! Hey, thank you, Greenville. It's so great to be here. And I also hear you got really good barbecue. So I can't wait to get some of that Eastern barbecue here tonight. You know what? I see my good old buddy Robin Hayes here too. Robin, it's great to see you. And I am just so excited to be here with your next governor, Pat McCrory. Friends, there's a little gathering going on over in Charlotte. You heard about this? Now, we know that your governor's over there, and your lieutenant governor, and we also know that President Obama's over there. And President Obama is going to be giving a big speech. And there are going to be a lot of speeches, lots of words. Let me quote President Obama 4 years ago. If you don't have a record to run on, then you paint your opponent as someone people should run from. Ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what Barack Obama is doing today. You see, the president has no record to run on. In fact, every president since the Great Depression who asked Americans to send them into a second term could say that you are better off today than you were 4 years ago, except for Jimmy Carter and for President Barack Obama. In July of 1980, the unemployment rate was 7.8%. For the past 42 months, it's been above 8% under Barack Obama's failed leadership. When businesses go bankrupt, that means fewer paychecks, fewer jobs. The unemployment rate in North Carolina is 9.6%. In 1980, under Jimmy Carter, 330,000 businesses filed for bankruptcy. Last year, under President Obama's failed leadership, 1.4 million businesses filed for bankruptcy. We have a very clear choice. Take a look at people who are having a hard time making their mortgage payments. 77,000 delinquent mortgages by the time Jimmy Carter left office. Under President Obama, 3 million. So, when you take a look at what we're going to hear in Charlotte today, the president can say a lot of things, and he will, but he can't tell you that you're better off. Simply put, the Jimmy Carter years look like the good old days compared to where we are right now. And so that's why we have a very crystal clear choice. We can either choose to stay on the path that we are on, a path of debt, a path of doubt and decline, a path of joblessness, or we can get things turned around. We can elect Mitt Romney the next president of the United States, and we can get America back on track. That's what we'll do. I love you too, man. After 4 years of getting the runaround, it is time for an American turnaround. And the man for that job is Mitt Romney. What is missing is leadership. Leadership to actually see the problem and fix the problem. Mitt Romney is the kind of person whose entire life story tells us this is the kind of leader we need. Very few times before have I ever seen a situation where the man and the moment meet so perfectly. Look at what this man has done in his life. Look at the beautiful family he's raised. Look at the communities he's supported. Look at the tens of thousands of jobs he helped create. Remember the Olympics back in the late 1990s when they were in Salt Lake? Remember all those stories of corruption, of bloated, wasteful spending? Sounds kind of familiar today, doesn't it? But what did they do? In Utah, they asked a man in Massachusetts to drop everything and come and save the Olympics. He picked up his family, he moved there for 3 years, he saved the Olympics, he turned it around, he made it an American success story, and we were all proud and better for it. Look at what the man has done in business. And by the way, it's a good thing to be successful in business. That's a good thing. We don't think that's bad. We don't resent people who are successful in business. We want to emulate people. We want more people to be successful in business. That's how you create jobs and prosperity. Mitt Romney is a man who turned around struggling businesses, who started small businesses, who helped them become big businesses. I am so proud to stand next to a man who knows by personal experience that if you built a small business, you built that small business. Government doesn't get the credit for that. Just line up the record of these two gentlemen when they served in public life. Under President Obama, we have 23 million men and women in this country struggling to find work. 9.6% unemployment, like we said, right here in North Carolina. 1 out of 6 Americans today is living in poverty. That's the highest rate in a generation. You take a look at family income, household income in this country as a result of these failed economic policies has gone down $4,000 over the last 4 years. The credit rating of the United States of America, our precious credit rating, has been downgraded for the first time in the history of our country. When Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts, he led. When Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts, unemployment went down. When Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts, household income went up $5,000. When Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts, the credit rating was improved in Massachusetts. That's the kind of leadership we need. And remember when President Obama, about 4 years ago, said, we're not red states or blue states, we're just the United States of America. We'll set aside childish things and get things done for the people. It is the most divisive, partisan atmosphere I have ever seen, and this is the third president I have served with. When Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts, this is a man who was a conservative Republican governor of a Democratic state, where nearly 9 out of the 10 legislators in his legislature were Democrats. He didn't demonize them. He didn't demagogue. He reached across the aisle, he fixed problems, and he balanced the budget without raising people's taxes. That's the kind of leadership we need. Now, we're going to hear a lot of words from Charlotte this week. But here's the kind of words we're not going to hear. We're not going to hear evidence and facts about how people are better off. You see, the president cannot run on this record. He's run out of ideas. And so that is why he's going to be running a campaign based on envy and division, based on frustration and anger. Hope and change has now become attack and blame. Guess what? We're not going to fall for it, are we? I bet they'll talk about Medicare. I'm excited about this debate. We want this debate. We need this debate, and we're going to win this debate about Medicare. Let me tell you why. What he probably won't say is that under Obamacare, President Obama takes $716 billion from Medicare to help pay for Obamacare. They call that an achievement. I understand that there are a lot of people who go to medical school here. Medicare, Obamacare is the greatest threat to Medicare, and Obamacare is among the greatest threats to young people who want a future in healthcare. And the best way to give young people a future in healthcare, and the best way to save Medicare, is we repeal Obamacare. We want to keep the promise of this. And so we don't think it's just enough to point out the terrible policies. We don't think it's just enough to point out the kind of ugly campaign that's being run. We feel we owe you an alternative. We want to earn your support. We want to deserve victory. We want to make sure that when you go to the polls, you know that you gave a very clear choice of two futures. And so here's what we're going to do to get people back to work in this country. Here are the ideas. That's what the Romney-Ryan plan for a stronger middle class is all about. It's about getting people out of poverty and back to the middle class and back onto a life of self-sufficiency. It's about getting people from welfare to work. It's about getting people back on their feet again, back to prosperity through freedom and free enterprise. We believe in the principles that made this country the greatest, most freest, most prosperous country on the face of this planet. Liberty, freedom, free enterprise, self-determination, government by consent of the governed, not the other way around. That's what made our country great. Our five-point plan is really clear. Number one, we have got a lot of energy in this country. Let's use that energy in this country, create jobs, lower gas prices, put people back to work. Keystone Pipeline, natural gas, oil, coal, nuclear, renewables, all of it. And look at the people who are out struggling to find jobs. People in their 40s and 50s, in between. We want them to be able to come to great institutions like ECU, our community colleges, so they can get the skills they need so they can get back on the path of prosperity and get back into a career for the 21st century. It's essential that we modernize our economic and our education training system so people can get those jobs and get those skills. And by the way, we know that if we make more things, like these great boats you make here, very cool boats, by the way. And we know if we grow more things with our fantastic agricultural prowess that America has, we make more things, we grow more things, we sell them overseas, we create jobs here. That's why we need trade that works. We need to level the playing field for our agriculture community. We need to level the playing field for our manufacturers. And we need to crack down on countries that cheat like China so that we can make sure that Americans can stand on a level playing field. If we do that, we win. We create jobs and prosperity. There's one issue that is something I've worked on a long time. It seems just to me like common sense. It's been escaping us with the president. He's been lacking in leadership. Of all the things that he's promised and of all the things he hasn't done, it is basically this. We have got to stop spending money we just don't have. We've got to cut spending. We've got to get this budget deficit under control and get this debt under control. It is draining jobs. It is hurting our economy, and it is clearly mortgaging our children's future. And the engine of economic growth, the job creators in this country, are small businesses. We need to champion small businesses. We need to help them out. Now, here's one of the things that we're going to do. And you'll hear the president talk about this a lot. He'll say that we just want tax cuts to go to really wealthy people and at the expense of everybody else. Here's how this game works in Washington. And by the way, Republicans in the past are just as guilty as Democrats. What happens is you pay your taxes, you send your money to Washington, and then special interest groups come and then get their little carve-outs in the tax code. And then if you do what Washington approves of, they might give you some of your money back. We just want you to keep your money in the first place. That's really simple. We don't think jobs and prosperity and growth are created by having Washington pick winners and losers. So what we're saying is plug all those special interest loopholes so that everybody can get their tax rates down by at least 20%. This means small businesses, families, keep more of what they earn so that they can keep their money, make their decisions, decide what they want to do with their lives, invest in their businesses, create jobs. You can do this not without even losing revenue, but more importantly, you get people off the unemployment line and back earning a paycheck. Their lives are dignified, they're paying taxes, everybody wins. You know, where I come from, overseas, we usually think of Lake Superior. See, other countries around the world, they sort of figured this thing out. They realize that if they tax their businesses a whole lot more than their competitors are taxing theirs, they lose jobs. Their businesses can't survive. Well, guess what? Canada, one of our biggest competitors, one of our biggest trade partners, they lowered their tax rates to all their businesses to 15% just last January. President Obama is making sure that in law, is pushing that the top tax rate on all those successful small businesses, where most of our jobs come from, goes up to above 40% in January. 8 out of 10 businesses in America file their taxes as individuals, as people. We call them subchapter S corporations like Grady Boats. We call them pass-throughs or LLCs or partnerships or farmers. If we tax our small businesses at much higher tax rates than our foreign competitors tax theirs, they win, we lose. By the way, all these taxes the president's talking about, it's just for more spending in Washington. That is not how you grow prosperity. The way to grow prosperity is to unleash the entrepreneur, is to get out of the way of the small business person, to stop strangling them with regulations, to have policies that let them survive and let them build the businesses that they build. That's how we create jobs and prosperity. We don't think the president's idea of taking money from families, of taking money from successful small businesses and doling them out to favored constituencies, Solyndra and the rest, picking winners and losers, and then regulating. We don't think that works, and it's not just a matter of opinion, it's a matter of fact. If this kind of economics worked, then we would be entering a golden age along with Greece. It doesn't work. But this campaign is not just about jobs or the economy or prosperity. It's much bigger than that. No matter what generation you come from, this really is the most important election in your lifetime. It is. And the reason is because we will be determining not just who's going to be president for the next 4 years, we're going to be determining the path of America for at least a generation. What kind of country do we want to have? What kind of people do we want to be? That is what is on the ballot. And if I could boil this down into one simple thought, the difference in philosophies that we have, it is basically this. Our founders got it right. Our rights come from nature and God and not from government. That's the American idea. That's the entire vision of America. We believe government is there to secure our rights. We believe the president's devastating defense cuts will compromise peace through strength and national security. We believe the goal of government is to promote equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. We believe that freedom and liberty works. We want to stick with it. And when we apply those principles, and we elect good men and women to Washington to turn this thing around, we will look back at this moment and say that we got it right. Winston Churchill said, "The Americans can be counted upon to do the right thing, but only after they've exhausted all the other possibilities." I think that's kind of where we are right now. Here is the commitment that Mitt Romney and I are making to you, our fellow citizens. We will not duck the tough issues. We will not kick the can down the road. We will lead. We will not blame others for the next 4 years and play the politics of envy and division. We will take responsibility. We will get that done. And we will not try to replace our founding principles or transform this country into something it was never intended to be. We will reapply our founding principles and make us who we are. This is a defining moment. The president cannot tell you that you're better off. And if we want to improve things, then how would rehiring the same administration accomplish that? It wouldn't. Friends, North Carolina is crucial. Eastern North Carolina is crucial. This is one of those kinds of elections where a handful of states may make the determination, not just of who your next governor is going to be, or just who your next president is going to be, but what kind of land your kids will inherit. This is it. And we can do this. The point I want to make to you is it is in our control. We are Americans. We control our own destiny. We put the right policies in place. We can do this. This is something we can get done. God bless you all, and thank you for coming out today. Let's get this done because we can do this. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.